Hello, my most amazing 1G artists. Today I'm going to show you about two different pieces of famous artwork. So we will talk about those in a minute. First of all, I want to say that we have been practicing our Larry the Line poem, and that's been fun. So let's do it one more time. Repeat after me. Ahem. Larry the Line is a friend of mine. He can make 3 straight lines for me. Vertical, diagonal, horizontal. Any curve he can learn. With a twist and a turn. And when he's out of his tangle, he makes a great angle. Any line he can make. After all, he's a snake. All right, that was fun. So we have been working a lot on lines on our woolly mammoth drawing. As you know, we have drawn the woolly mammoth and we've painted the background, and we are going to focus this week during our project time on painting the woolly mammoth. And one of the techniques that we're going to use is a technique that will make it look like he has furry hair on him. That will look like a texture. Texture is another element of art. And it's something that artists think about and use all the time. So we're going to look at texture in a couple of famous works of art. All right, first of all, this is a sculpture. Now, a sculpture is three-dimensional. It is not a flat painting or a flat drawing. It is a thing that you can walk around and see all the different sides of. You could touch it and feel the 3 dimensions of it. There's length, there's width, there's height. So this is a sculpture called Little Dancer, age 14 years. And it was created by a famous artist named Edgar Degas. Let's try saying that together. Repeat after me. Ahem. Little Dancer, age 14 years. Little Dancer, age 14 years. Was created by Edgar Degas. So, the thing I want you to look at is, I'm going to zoom in here a little bit. Do you see that this sculpture has different textures? If you were at the museum, and if the guard allowed you to touch it, which they would never allow you to touch it. I went and saw one of these. He's made, like, there's multiple statues of different dancers done by Edgar Degas. I was at a museum and saw one. It's in a glass case. There's no way they'd let you touch it. But if you could, do you think that this tutu, the dress that the dancer's wearing, would feel different? It would have a different texture than, say, the cheek on her face or her arm or the bodice, that's the top part of the dress. Look at her shoes. Those look smoother, don't they? Texture is how something feels when you touch it. Does it feel smooth or does it feel rough? Does it feel bumpy or scratchy or hairy? There's all sorts of great words to describe how something feels when you touch it. And this sculpture has many different textures. Now, Edgar Degas used different materials in his sculptures. So he did actually use like a fabric to make that part of the tutu. And he used other materials to make the bodice, which is the top part, and to make the rest of the statue. So there are parts that feel smooth and parts that feel bumpy or scratchy. All right, so that's actual texture. Actual texture means that you really could touch it and it would feel different. But artists also use something called implied texture. And that means that they can make it look like something would feel a certain way, even though It's a flat canvas or a flat, smooth piece of paper. Let me show you an example. Let's look at this one. This is a painting. It's not a sculpture. It's a painting on a flat canvas. And if you could run your hand on it, it would just feel smooth, right? But look at the fur on that hare. Doesn't it look like it would feel really fluffy and soft? That's called implied texture. The artist was able to make it look like it would feel fluffy and soft if you got to touch it. Let's memorize this one. Repeat after me. Ahem. Hare was painted by Albrecht Dürer. Now, Mr. Dürer lived quite a long time ago. In fact, this was painted in 1502. Whoa, that's like over 500 years ago. So it's the kind of painting that's been around for a long time. Now, Albrecht Dürer had painted lots of other paintings too. So we will study more than one of his paintings while you're in my art classes. But I love this one called Hare because it just looks so amazing with the texture. Now, you know, hare isn't like this kind of hair. It's spelled different, right? Hare, like a rabbit, a cousin to a rabbit, is H-A-R-E. So just want to make sure you got that straight. All right, so one more time. Look closely at the texture. Can you imagine that his nose and his eye would be like a smooth texture, but his fluffy fur would be a soft, fluffy texture? What about his ears? Can you see that part of his ear looks furry and part of his ear looks velvety soft? Yeah, those are all things that artists do with their colors and their shading to make it look like there's texture. So we're going to do a little bit of both on our painting when we do our project this week. We're going to make it look like there's texture, implied texture, but we're also going to be putting on some paint kind of thick and scratching some of it away. So actually when it dries, when you rub your hand on the painting, you will probably feel a little bit of a bumpy texture. So a little bit of both in our project this week. So if you're a hybrid learner, you're going to do that in class with me. If you are a full-time distance learner, you'll be checking out my project video to paint the woolly mammoth. All right, thanks for checking in. I'll see you guys next week.